Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and even celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm James Hewlett from LiveActionStarWars.com.
And I'm Ralph Apel from LiveActionStarWars.com.
Two LiveActionStarWars.com people today. Welcome to the show, guys. This is your debut on the official show, correct? Or am I misremembering?
It is, yeah.
Correct.
Sneaking it in there with the last film.
I don't even think I've been an unofficial.
Oh, I thought you were a swimweed, but...
Actually, let's publicly thank former guest of the show, friend of the show, Patrick Kottner, who reminded me. He was just like, "Hey, you should have the live action Star Wars guys," and he listed a couple of people. I was like, "Yeah, I thought, wait, we didn't? All right, like I've known Ralph for forever, so all right, so
easily confused.
Apologies,
we've had you guys on
the
our show, so you know,
yes,
yeah. Easily confused.
It's close
all
enough.
a muddle.
Welcome,
and I provided you with Twizzlers.
Yes, official Twizzler correspondent. Always appreciated.
A title I'm not fond of.
No?
Because I'm a Red Vines guy. I just brought him because Pete said bring him to the show, and of course I did it, and then that's what I became. I'm fine with both, though. I just prefer Red Vines.
As a Brit, is there much of a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
One is
I used
gross.
to think there
the
was
other one is more gross.
There is, but like the views of Alex Robinson do not necessarily represent those of Star Wars Minute at large. Now, it's become less of a, to kind of dig in a hard line in the sand for me. Like I can do it either. Like it was kind of an uncanny valley where it's just like, this is close to what I want, but not. So I find it disgusting. And now it's just like, yeah, either or. So maybe I'm just old and don't care anymore. But I enjoy them both. If Twizzlers, if you're listening, still want that sponsorship money, or sponsorship Twizzlers would be that would do fine.
All right. So we start off with Kylo Ren in action, stomping around the floors of the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I love the Kylo's theme with the boots marching, stomping. Like it adds a certain thing to it because I like Kylo Ren's little sting theme is like, we've said it's like a monster. It's like Creature from the Black Lagoon or something, and like then adding this, so like, all right, now it's the monster, but with an army.
They've really do sort of have like Big D energy as they're walking through those halls as well. It's like there's stormtroopers around and there's like First Order officers, but like these guys when they're there, it's like it feels they've got sort of gravitas to them for the first time.
Also, they don't care about muddying up the floor. No. Like, that's the whole thing is the Empire is all pristine, and then this guy, Kylo Ren, who's been just a terror, just comes wandering through this Star Destroyer, just muddying up the floor. And who cleans those? Who has to? Because there's, is it a mouse droid?
They should have been followed by a little droid, a little Grief Karga droid following behind them.
Right,
mopping up
with a dustpan and a
Well, if they had cape droids, their boots and stuff wouldn't be quite so muddy.
But it's intentional. It's like the exhaust coming from their ship like a minute ago.
Oh, they've taken the muffler off.
Yeah, it should also just be like eating chips and getting stuff like all over the floor. Sorry, crisps.
It's okay.
Getting stuff all over the floor. And then we also get the expository, this line of dialogue from the stormtroopers. It's like the exact mirror of, like, bounty hunters, we don't need their scum. Kind of that kind of a thing, but he's like, Knights of Ren, ghouls. Like,
ghouls.
Although, ghouls.
He says ghouls?
Yeah. Did you think he said cool?
Yes.
I thought he said... Apparently other people on the internet...
Goblins,
I saw it.
Goblins and ghouls.
Right.
I've seen this movie countless times because I love it so much, and I could have sworn it was like one guy says Knights of Ren and the other guy says cool.
Alex, what'd you say? Did you think it was
some people on the internet thought it was goals?
Goals. Squad goals. Knights of Ren, squad goals.
That's the most Gen Z version of this film for sure.
Right. Or like
ghouls is a weird choice.
Girl. Like he was like, maybe getting excited.
Yeah.
I'm so relieved they don't say cool. I really am, because it's one of the few things that bothered me in this movie. I'm like, cool. Did they really say cool in Star Wars?
It's like Beavis and Butthead, like Knights of Ren. Cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe that was like
So
the tag and bink of this trilogy, is those two troopers.
Right, yeah.
That's Daniel Craig, right? In there?
Yeah.
I assume.
The whole time.
I did a little prep for this episode.
Oh, good.
Something that Pete usually
fancy.
does. And I went and I looked at the 21st minute of every other Star Wars film.
Nice.
And I did it because I kind of wanted to prove a point, because I do like this movie a lot. And I like the pacing of this movie. I feel of all the Star Wars movies, it may be the fastest and most intense pacing wise. Like my brain was scrambled after I saw this thing, which is good because there's no sort of lull points in it for me. It just like zips along. So if you want to know where we are at the 21st minute of every other Star Wars movie compared to where we are on this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are going to be the experts, if anyone. Like,
right.
Can you remember?
This is like, I'm trying to guess what, I think we're let's see. We've probably Star Wars is tricky because you get all that kind of, you don't get, is C-3PO kind of flagging down the Jawas maybe somewhere around there? Are we not there yet?
You were at Luke cleaning the droids.
Oh, wow. All right. So we're past that. All right.
Yeah.
I was going to say Sandcrawler sale.
Empire,
Alex,
which is...
you going to guess Empire? 21. 21. Empire.
I guess getting ready for the Imperial probe droid.
You get the introduction of Darth Vader. It opens on the shot of him looking out of the Super Star Destroyer.
Wow.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, we're probably in Jabba's palace. Do we get... Is it too early for Boosh? It might be Boosh time. Too early for Boosh.
No.
Han
is out of carbonite and talking to Jabba.
All right.
Wow,
okay, so we're
supposed to be the experts here.
No, this isn't really a test. It's mostly just to show like how the other movies stack up to the pacing of this movie. And
how little
so far
we know.
Pretty good. Lucas. We're on track with like Lucas stuff.
It's surprising. Like you think
so. Episode 1.
It just feels like all of these things should be a lot later in the film than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
episode 1 is it autocorrect. It's the OPC killer.
Okay.
When that first attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2, Anakin is hanging from Zam Wessel's speeder.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3, it's Obi-Wan versus the Grievous guards on the bridge.
Okay.
So now here we get into the Disney era.
Mm-hmm.
So episode 7 is You Need a Pilot.
Right.
So that scene, which feels like that should be earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
As opposed to 21 minutes in. Rogue One, it's the introduction of Saw Gerrera, which I also feel the pacing, I feel like Saw was introduced way later in the film, but
yeah,
the pacing of Rogue One must be really
Rogue
quick.
One jumps around so many different planets at the beginning there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's interesting. So episode 8, The Last Jedi, where do you think we are at in 20 minutes into that movie?
That's Rey handing Luke the lightsaber and Luke throwing it over his shoulder.
Pretty close. It's Rey asking Luke for help, and it's the minute where Luke, out of his mouth, says the word laser sword.
Oh, okay. So
Nice.
But I mean, that's like for a movie that takes place right where the last one picked up, it's kind of crazy that it took them 20 minutes to get to the follow-up of that scene.
Well, I guess we'd had the entire like opening space battle at that point, so...
Yeah.
And then Solo, which I think impressed me the most.
Oh, boy.
Minute 21 of Solo.
Jumps all over the place. That's pretty quick moving, right? 21...
Woody Harrelson show.
Mimban?
Yeah.
Mimban.
Any specific? It is the meeting of the beast.
Oh wow.
We get Han Solo dropped in the mud and Chewbacca roaring in that minute. In minute 21 of Solo. So Solo also has a lot of stuff happen in the first, And I'm sure with you guys the last couple weeks, what is this, the previous 4 weeks? You guys have gone a lot of planet hopping and stuff. A lot of information.
We had 6 planets in the space
I was going to say, you did a bunch of that in 1 minute, right? Yeah.
Right.
Got our money's worth.
But I just love that this movie just like inundates you with so much. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't have high opinions of this film. I really like it for the pacing because I could pop it on and like, there's so much going on in every minute, in every second, in every frame. JJ just jams pack every frame with like stuff.
And it's still
it's fun to look up from your phone and see a shot that you probably didn't really fully notice before.
All the so many things in here I've been like, oh yeah, I forgot that was in here. Like as we're going through, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that was in this movie too, because it is.
Yeah.
Some might say overstuffed, but I like it too. So maybe my brain was also scrambled.
It scrambled my brain.
Yeah. Hey, who else got their brain scrambled? Bulio.
Oh, poor Bulio. It's a great head. It's a great like puppet head. It feels like the sort of thing that if one of those officers around that table really wanted to be a dick, he could sort of pick it up and just put it on as a mask.
Hey, look at me, I'm Bulio.
Smells in there.
Stop the war.
Yeah.
Oh, they smelled bad on the outside.
Yeah, that was. I mean, intentional in the design process was that they went they went through all the sketches. They're like, well, we need it to like look good as a severed head in addition to looking like a cool alien. So they're like, they were thinking about that, and
he was born to die.
I think,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Good job.
But a perfect design for you to remember a character that pops in for like maybe 20 seconds.
Right.
Maybe it's a 20
we're not Star Wars second.
And then,
we're not allowed to comment.
Yeah,
on
but it's pretty short. So like the fact that they came up with a design for a character that was important, but we didn't have to dwell on that character, but visually striking enough so that by the next time we see him, it's a dead head on a table.
Is he dead head?
That we process that information. This is a dead head. Yeah, he's been traveling in his van.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't need the side story. Just so everyone knows, like over at Disney, like this character served its purpose.
Yeah, you don't want Bulio, a Star Wars story.
Well,
I mean, it is
in Mandalorian, or
if it's Mark Hamill. That would be cool.
We might get it in like.
They got other ways to use Mark Hamill.
Like 35 years time, we'll get it when they do the from a certain point of view book. We'll get a Bulio story.
There you go.
We got a while. We got a while to wait for that.
Yeah.
27 years.
Books, so I don't have to know about
it. There you go. I'll tell you about it then.
Okay.
Another cool thing, and I know this isn't Star Wars Music Minute. They're down the hall, but we get the Emperor's music a little bit behind this little meeting, which is interesting because he's kind of, I guess Kylo's brought that vibe with him.
Yeah,
somehow.
It's stuck to his shoe.
It confuses me here.
That's what he was tracking all over the hall.
You think that Kylo would sort of want to keep the Emperor, or the fact that it is the Emperor, sort of a secret from these guys. If he's got a plan and he doesn't want to be under the Emperor's thumb, then like why go and tell these, like some of them are former Imperials under Palpatine, like that, oh yeah, your old boss is here, but you're listening to me now. Like it just seems like a weird choice, but we do get to see like.
Well, I mean, it's a John Williams choice, and John Williams in Episode 8 in The Last Jedi used the Emperor's theme during the Snoke throne room scene, and which is good because it creates this looming presence of the Emperor, the Emperor over this whole galaxy, over the this whole time. And I know the whole somehow he's returned thing is a point of contention. It's a lot. It's a meme. But at the same time, like, I mean, he kind of was the big bad in the first 6 movies. And of course he would have a contingency plan to cheat death. He talked about cheating death in Episode 3. And I know it sort of feels like Mandalorian and Bad Batch are going and sort of shoehorning in kind of where Snoke came from and the Emperor's Return and stuff, but I mean, it's kind of working for me. And also I like the somehow line, just because, you know what? We don't know everything in Star Wars. And, you know, like when Obi-Wan mentions to Luke about the Clone Wars, it was fun to speculate.
Yeah.
And I know the somehow line is feels like
it's definitely the thing that people point to, like, as the key sort of bit when they want to criticize this film. But it's fine.
But I've said it before. I don't have words to express the relief that I felt when it was just like, oh, okay, great. The Emperor's just back at the beginning of this. I didn't want to hear the whole story. Just great. Just jump right into it.
The fact that it's in the opening crawl, it's like, okay, good. It doesn't have to be over-explained.
Yeah.
Let's just hit the ground running, which this movie kind of does. It just hits the ground running. I don't know if there's any moment where there's any time to breathe. And I kind of like that because, you know, I don't want to sit through
not a fan of breathing.
An overlong scene. I'm not a fan of reading.
I mean,
but
go on.
But I mean, I don't have more to say other than I just enjoy the pacing of this movie and how it just flies. It makes it very watchable for me on further viewings. As crazy as it gets.
Yeah.
As crazy. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's horses on a Star Destroyer, which is nuts. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I mean, at this point I have dogfight fatigue.
Never.
So show me something different. Show me something I haven't seen.
Horse
and
fight.
Talking about subverting expectations. I did not expect to see horses on a Star Destroyer.
No.
So,
would you have liked it if canonical cat lover Armitage Hux had his cat at that desk?
I mean, as a Bond fan, yes.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know. I don't know if it fits his role in this film. Like earlier on in the trilogy, maybe, but I think at this point he is so beaten down. He feels like an abused part of that entire group.
Speaking of Hux, like this scene, Kylo senses something, a disturbance in the Force involving Hux. And he mentions to Hux that Hux, I feel unease.
Right. About my appearance. I love that.
But I think it's planting the seed of Hux being the traitor, which another line I love where he's just like, I'm the traitor. And it's like, okay, cool. Don't dwell on it. Let's just keep going. I don't need a flashback of why you were the traitor. I don't need to know when this. We get it. You hate Kylo Ren more than anything. So it's not whether it doesn't. He doesn't need the Empire. He doesn't need the First Order to win. He just wants Kylo to lose, which I think was like what in Quantumania. I saw that a little while back.
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing in Quantumania. Ant-Man was, I don't have to win. I just need to make sure you lose. But it sounded like Kylo or Hux was saying, "Oh, uneasy about the helmet." Like he shifted what he was uneasy about to say, "Oh, it's just about the helmet."
Right, which is another great little funny line too.
I love it. I think
the mask. No, sir. Well done.
The done is so good. It's See, I got the feeling that like everyone is probably feeling a little bit dodgy about him putting on this mask again, but Kylo hates Hux as much as Hux hates Kylo. So he's just picking on him. He's just like, I'm sensing it from you and you in particular because I want to bully you. Like,
right.
And then so you get the well done, but then you also get the I like it from the officer next to him, which is great. It's just that sniveling. It's really good.
Brown nose.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about Belava Parnady.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Belava Parnady.
Either or.
Parnady.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Played by actress Tanya Moody, who for a bunch of credits, she was Hunter, I think, in Neil Gaiman's Nevermore series, which I forgot existed. She was kind of one of the stars of that. And for my notes, for my purposes, on 4 episodes of the show Sherlock, she played a character named Ella. So
there you go.
There you go.
Go.
But yes, Belava Parnady.
Parnady. It could be a regional thing.
Which I can't. It doesn't seem like an obvious Tuckerization of anything. So I was like, all right. Unless it maybe
Balava.
it's Balava. Maybe it's a jumble of one of her other characters because I think she's famous for a couple of other things that I am unfamiliar with.
Is it this minute that we also get our intro to what is his? It's Allegiant General Pride, is it?
Yeah, we
General
get
Pride.
Pride and Hux have that stare down for a second across the
Quinn.
table.
Is Quinn the one that doesn't like cults? He's
General Quinn is the one who's complaining about the Sith.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm on that guy's side. Like, we don't want cults. Don't involve cults. Any cult in Star Wars is bad. Mandalorian, Sith, they're all bad.
I thought the scene where Quinn was complaining about the Sith, that scene seemed like basically a remix of Admiral Mahdi and don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways and your mystical powers and all that stuff like that. And of course that'll
continue into the next minute.
For sure.
Yeah. So
I like Pride a lot. I kind of wish he was around more before this movie. What's his?
I mean, it's kind of going with the
Piet.
tradition of Piet. It's kind of going with the tradition of like, all right, just different Imperial officers all the time, except for we can keep one around maybe.
Yeah.
But we've got an awful lot of British actors that we like that we want to shuffle in here.
It really was a case of like, who do we like from around the area who's available for a few days or a few weeks or something? Like, and we've got 3 films, we'll use them all. Like,
yeah.
The Crown, Game of Thrones, you're all included.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody, it's like, all right, if anybody was on The Crown, take a step forward. All right, now if anybody, well, I guess I've got notes about that for tomorrow's minute too.
I was going to say, we just finished rewatching Frasier, the television show Frasier, and he shows up in the finale as one of Daphne's brothers.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I recognize that guy. But, Frasier was like, what, 20 years ago, something like that?
Yeah.
But probably, at least. Huh?
Isn't it coming back?
Yeah, it is coming back. Yeah. Nothing really dies.
Another thing I thought was kind of interesting was that it's the Mahdi problem. It's the same problem that we had with Mahdi last time around. Is the Emperor is a space wizard who can shoot lightning out of his hands. Why would you be skeptical about sorcerer's ways and clairvoyant powers and stuff like that? So here we have like General Pride seems to be in favor of using the Sith army. I don't know. I'm not sure of the age of General Quinn. He probably wasn't around. He probably wasn't high up during the Imperial era because he looks like he's in his 40s, which means he would have been a child. He would have been a child when the Empire fell. But Pride seems like he was old enough where he would have been
around.
Yeah. I think Pride. Like, there's a line somewhere coming up where, or I think it's later in the film where it's sort of revealed that he did serve under Palpatine in the old Empire and stuff. Whereas. Yeah, Hux and everyone else, almost everyone else around that table seems just a bit too young. I think Hux's dad was Imperial, and was the one who sort of started all the children stealing instead of cloning. So, and then Hux took on that. I think Hux, if I remember rightly, it's from a book or something, but Hux didn't have a good relationship with his dad either. So, yeah.
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. They've all got daddy issues.
Yeah. And they all have there's so many different factions of folks that like take kids.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a while back on Mandalorian, they talked about foundlings. The Jedi. If you watch the Obi-Wan series, didn't they like take Obi-Wan? Like Obi-Wan had a brother, but Obi-Wan has vague recollections because.
We've got a kid shortage, so we need to take them all as soon as they're ready or before they're ready. So the arms race, so you can get the kids the youngest.
Like college basketball.
I do like, speaking of Hux and his father, I do like if you're gonna have Donald Gleason on, it's like, well, we might as well just
in case
write a thing about his father just in case down the road if we want to have
Yeah. That'd be great. I'd love to see it.
Anytime you have somebody who has a famous father who's also, or famous parent who's also an actor or brother.
I was going to say,
let's just throw that in there just in case.
Yeah, I wonder if Hux...
How many Nepo babies are there in the Star Wars universe? We got Hux.
all the Skywalkers, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Luke, Leia.
Ray. We're going to find out Ray counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Solo. Even Poe Dameron. His parents were in the rebellion, and
so you get to see Finn being like, "What does everybody have like a connection here? What's going on?"
He might. He just doesn't know.
That's true. Yeah,
he does. He must have. Everyone does. So they're all related.
Boba Fett, yeah.
10
Is Boba Fett a Nepo of himself? Is he a Nepo baby?
Half-tab Akbar.
Yeah, Junior's in this movie.
Yeah, Junior.
All right, that's enough of that. Come on, Star Wars. Let's get some original characters that don't have any ties to someone else.
Well, I did that. I had other things to say about Quinn, but I'll save them for tomorrow, I think.
All right. Well, I guess that will wrap up minute number 21 of The Rise of Skywalker. You guys want to come back tomorrow? Can we maybe get you to come back tomorrow?
I can come back tomorrow. I'm going on vacation at the end of the week, but yeah, I can come back tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Sounds good to me. I'll be there.
All right. That sounds like we have a full house with our 21. So, hey, guess what, everyone? Over on the Patreon, we've done some remodeling. We added a couple of new tiers to our Patreon account, and we've added a new Discord for exclusive access to. It's like a message. Everyone knows what Discord is. I don't need to explain it to you guys, but all our Patreons can get on it and hang out with and shoot the poodoo, as they say. So go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon to become a supporter, join us on the Discord, and join us tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
I can do it. I want to do it way late. Star Wars Minute.